How do railroaders communicate? And how can you make sense of what they're talking about? Railroad jargon can be hard to understand, but learning it can help you gain a better appreciation for the workers who keep trains moving. With a little help from a scanner radio and some knowledge about your local territory, you can become a sleuth of railroad jargon too. Come along as we chase a one-of-a-kind MBTA Middleboro Extra and observe how the conductor, engineer, and dispatcher work together to bring this train to its destination. In this two-part video, we will learn about who communicates with one another on the railroad, how it is done, and how you at home can make sense of railroad communication. I hope to shine light on our hard-working railroaders who keep the city moving each day and night. When it comes to everyday railroad operations, the conductors, engineers, and dispatchers are the key groups of people that are responsible for the flow of trains. Whether you observe radio communication, hand communication, written communication, or communication by signals, depends on who is communicating with who. Let's get out on the rails and see which methods we can observe in action. It's noontime on June 7th, 2025. Today, the MBTA is running a Middleboro Extra that will be taking everything in the kitchen sink from Middleboro Yard to the Boston Engine Terminal. This move will include side dumps, ballast cars, 3 locomotives, and a caboose, so stay tuned. Given the variety of freight and passenger equipment in this consist, the making of this train required lots of trial and error. Right now, the crew, which consists of an engineer, conductor, and assistant conductor, are running around the consist with the 2107. They need this locomotive to be on the eastern side of the train when the train goes down the Grand Junction running track later this afternoon. Unfortunately for the crew, the switch at the western end of Middleboro Yard would not cooperate with the dispatcher.
Active, what about your end? No. Let me go call Scolastico. Roger. Dispatcher can't get the switch, so. Talk to you guys saying before? Oh, and we're not going to be able to come out to that end of the yard anyway, so what we're going to have to do is run around it between Pilgrim and Mid, so that engine will be up against this one anyway. Roger.
This crew was on duty this morning at 3 a.m. in Reedville Yard. They've already been at work for 7 hours and have only 5 hours remaining before their day will end.
They come back for.
Right now, the conductor is communicating with the engineer by way of the radio.
Yeah, good.
The conductor is acting as the engineer's eyes as he backs the 2107 into the consist. He is giving the engineer his distance from the coupler in car lengths, a unit of measurement unique to railroads.
Well, hold on.
Middleboro Extra, okay to come back 1 to the pin. Half. 10 feet. 5 more feet. 3, 2, 1. On the pin. Give it a stretch, please.
Now the engineer will give it a stretch, which involves them throwing the train into notch 8, which tests the couplers and braking action. As they do this, the crew gets a call from the Old Colony dispatcher.
Stretch, good hits, going in. Yeah. On 1 second, I'll let you know when the brakes are set. Going. Old Colony, Middleboro Extra. Middleboro Extra, over. The South Coast Rail is trying to get a hold of you. They were able to get the switch on their end of the layover yard.
It appears the switch, which previously would not work for the dispatcher, is finally fixed. Unfortunately for the crew, they have found this out after committing to Plan B, shoving the train onto the main line and running around the consist.
Roger that. We sort of sorted to just, we're going to shove it out on the main and then run around the equipment between Mid and Pilgrim, over.
As this goes on, the conductor and assistant conductor will walk the distance of the train to make sure everything looks right with the consist. Now that the consist has been inspected and no issues were found, the Extra is ready to leave Middleboro Yard. Here's the next plan. They will pull the consist out the east end of the yard at Pilgrim Interlocking. Then, the consist will be shoved onto the single track in the controlled siding between Pilgrim and Mid Interlocking. From here, the 2107 will unhook from the cars and run around the consist, ultimately placing the locomotive on the southern end of the train.
Middleboro Extra, ready to come out. Middleboro layover, Pilgrim, run around our equipment, Mid and Pilgrim, over. Roger, coming out of layover at Pilgrim, and then you're going to run around the equipment, controlled siding between Mid and Pilgrim, roger that. We'll call you up.
I was able to find all of this useful information out ahead of time by using a scanner. I use a Uniden BC125AT with a Diamond RH77CA antenna. The scanner is a critical piece of equipment to have while rail fanning, especially if you want to figure out what a train will be doing, where it will be doing it, and when. That's how I knew that this Middleboro Extra would be running around the consist between these interlockings. If I hadn't known this or been listening to my scanner, I probably would have driven all the way to Boston and waited for them there. When using the scanner, it's important to know exactly what to listen for. Make sure you know your train's symbol, what territory your train will be running on, and the railroad cardinal directions used on the territory. By honing your focus in on a few key terms to listen for, you can be prepared to hear important scanner chatter that will tell you what a train is doing, like right now.
So calling Middleboro Extra, are you guys able to see the signal southbound at Pilgrim over? Negative, over. Okay, roger that. What's the local on the south end there? Got the PNLX 2107. Roger that. Middleboro Extra with the engine PNLX 2107. Okay to make a reverse move from point standing on a single track and head south towards Pilgrim. Over.
This scanner conversation has told me that the Middleboro Extra will be heading past me once again, southbound, towards Pilgrim interlocking. It also really helps to know your core interlocking names and where they are located.
Robert, cut off, we're running around it now. Roger that, I'll be here waiting, I'll have it set up.
If everything is going well out on the railroad, chances are the dispatcher won't have to communicate with the train. But when the dispatcher is dealing with extras like this Middleboro Extra, they have to fold it between in-service trains, which oftentimes requires a lot of radio chatter. Right now, the dispatcher is going to reach out and inform the Middleboro Extra that they will have to wait for passenger traffic to clear before continuing the runaround operation.
Calling the light engine PNLX 2107. Gonna be waiting there for a little bit. We got a meet happening like to Alden. Roger, waiting on a meet. Roger.
Another way railroaders communicate is with the horn. Notice how when this outbound passes the Middleboro Extra, it blows the horn. This is a safety precaution that is supposed to tell whatever crew may be on that consist that a train is passing by on an adjacent track. This outbound is about to enter South Coast Rail dispatch territory, so the crew must change radio channels in order to proceed. Keep an ear out for that.
All your buddies over there?
Roger, going over.
911 on 91. Lots of buffs out there today.
Oh yeah, I saw him.
Lots of rail fans are out for this train today, as you could tell by the conductor-to-engineer communication you just heard. Train crews communicate with each other frequently, especially when departing station stops. At these locations, conductors will give engineers the okay to go over the radio. That is an indication that you are listening to an in-service passenger train. The Middleboro Extra will be given permission to continue their runaround operation by way of a signal indication at Pilgrim Interlocking. So far, we have learned about how dispatchers, conductors, and engineers communicate with one another to provide a smooth operation of a railroad. There's a lot more to learn, and there's still more to see of this Middleboro Extra. Don't worry, we won't be going anywhere. The second half of this operation will be covered in another episode coming out later next week. We will learn more about how crews and dispatchers communicate, and other key words you can listen out for out there on the rails. So until then, I will see you all again soon, out there on the rails.